Hello, I'm Charly and today I'm going to be showing you my top 5 books of 2014. So last year I did a top 13 books of 2013, but that was because I read 51 books in 2013. This year I set a goal of 30 books because I was going into year 11 and I knew that I wouldn't have as much time as I did in 2013. How many books do you think I read? 29. I did read 29. I was aware for a good 2 weeks that I needed one more book to do my goal, but I just didn't do it. And 2015 is going to be worse because year 12, last year of high school, I'm a bit screwed. But yeah, basically I'm going to show you my top 5 books that I read this year. Not books that came out this year, but books that I read this year. Are you sneezing in my video? Come here. Leo is just on the ground sneezing in my video. So here's Leo. He wanted to say hi. He's a little bit wet because it's raining outside. I'm surprised he went outside. I'm proud of you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my top 5 books of 2014, and I'm also at the end just going to quickly run through all of the books that I read in 2014. So number 5 on my list is the Death Note series by Tasumi Oba and art by Takeshi Obata. The ones that I read this year are the ones that are on this list, so that's volume 1 to 4. This is the black edition, so volume 1 and 2, volume 3 and 4. I gave all of these 5 stars. I couldn't pick a favourite one, especially because I just read these as one book, so I don't really differentiate between them, to be honest. But I love this series. I haven't read any other manga, but if you love manga or if you haven't gotten into manga, I definitely recommend this. It's really, really fast-paced and action-packed and just like intense, and it feels like you're watching a TV show. And there is a TV show for it, and I haven't watched it yet, but I should, shouldn't I? I really should. Someone convinced me to do that. Do it, okay? And if you don't know what this is about a god of death, a Shinigami. I'm not sure how to say any of the things, but it's about him, and he's bored one day, and he drops a death note into the human world, and a death note is like a little notebook that if you write someone's name in it, they die of a heart attack within some amount of time. Like as you go along, you learn more about the Death Note, and there's like little summaries of the rules of the Death Note at the start of each chapter. And we follow the character Light Yagami, and he's the one that picks up the Death Note, and then he gets the God of Death which follows him, but he's the only one who can see the God of Death, and he starts killing criminals to rid the world of evil, basically. And then it's just about him not being caught, and oh man, it's intense. It's just so intense. Number 4 on my list is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first book in a series. The second book is not out yet. I need that book in my life, okay? This is a huge book. Usually I'm not obsessed with huge books because I'm a really slow reader. And this took me so long to get through. I think it took me a good 3 months. And if you hear someone sneezing, it's freaking Leo who hasn't listened to me, okay? But this book is so creepy. So creepy. Like, if you're worried about you hearing that it was creepy and then it not actually being creepy like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, there's not. It is creepy, okay? The villain in this book is terrifying, okay? He has a little whistling tune. He has a whistling tune, okay? I don't know how to explain. I don't know what genre this is. Is it historical fiction? Historical fiction thing? I don't know. It's about a girl called Evie, and she's about 17, I think, and she gets sent to live with her uncle because she has this weird little thing she can do that when she touches something that belongs to someone else, she can see what's going to happen involved with that item, I think. And so she uses this at a party one time and gets in trouble for it, but like no one knows she has this power, but she does something that gets her in trouble. And then she gets sent away to live with her uncle, and her uncle owns a museum, and then all these murders start happening, and then she gets involved and helps solve the case. And oh my gosh, like just the last 100 pages of this book is just so intense, and like it really sets up for the next book. I haven't heard anyone else say that, but I really feel like it sets up really well for the next book with the characters at the end, just the resolution of this book. Number 3 on my list is I Wrote This For You by Please Find This. I'm not sure what the like author's actual name is, but this is published under the author's name, Please Find This. And you've probably heard the story of this before because I've said it so many times, but I was at a bookstore, like an individual bookstore at the beach, and I saw this and I was so intrigued. I was like, what is this? It's like soft, it's like matte kind of soft thing. And I looked at it and it had like pictures in it, and I was like, what is this? And I read the dedication in the front, but it was like $40 in the store, so I was like, no. So I went home and I ordered it and I read it, and it basically saved me. You know, it saved my life for a few days there. Okay, so this is a poetry book. Not enough people have read this. It's really short, and I flew through it, and all these tabs, just so many tabs. And I also I wrote this for you, Just the Words, which I read more recently, and I loved that one as well, but I didn't love it as much as this one. This one I like better, so if you want to read one, I would recommend starting on this one. Yes. Number 2 on my list is the Me Trilogy by Tahara Mafi. I read this whole trilogy this year, and I love it so much. Like, looking back on it now, I didn't realize how much I loved it until now. Oh man, I actually flew through these books, and I don't fly through many books. So this is Shatter Me Book 1, Unravel Me Book 2, and Ignite Me Book 3. I cannot pick a favourite. I can't pick a favourite. I really cannot. But I love this. This is a dystopian trilogy, and it's about a girl called Juliet, and if she touches someone, they die or they get really severely hurt. And just the main thing with these books for me is the writing style. Tahara Mafi's writing style is beautiful. If you haven't heard, there are strikeouts in these books. The strikeouts isn't really the thing that sold the writing style for me. It's just the way she writes. I can't explain it. It's just really good, and like within the first page of Shatter Me, you will realize that her writing style is amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's poetic. And yeah, the only thing I'll say is that if you don't like stories with like a heavy focus on the romance kind of, then you might not like this as much. I think you'll still like it, but you might not love it as much as I do. I usually don't like romances in books as much, but I really liked the one in this one. This has a love triangle in it, and I thought this love triangle was actually done really well. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. Comment below if you liked the love triangle in this. And number 1 on my list is a tie between 2 contemporaries, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alera Sainz, and If You Find Me by Emily Murdoch. Not enough people have read If You Find Me, so I'm going to talk about If You Find Me first. Okay, I have a review of this. I'm going to link it below because I actually really think that that's a good review I did. That's one of my best reviews that I've done. So I would recommend watching that if you want to know more about this book, but it's really short, and it will impact you. I would say though, if you're a bit younger, like maybe under the age of 15, I wouldn't read this book because it has some confronting themes. Like, this is basically about 2 girls who live in the forest, and their mum disappears, and then they get found by people, and it's basically about them learning how to live in like the real world. And it's also about something that happened, that the whole book you don't know what it is. It's called The White Star Night, and Carrie's sister Janessa, she doesn't talk at all. She doesn't say any words, and you don't know why, but you know that it is because of the White Star Night, but you don't know what that is. And that gets revealed at the end, and it's really, really good. I don't know why more people haven't read this. I don't think I've heard anyone not like this. The other book that is on the number 1 spot, Aristotle and Dante. This book is amazing. Seriously, I haven't heard anyone not love this book. It's just, it's basically just about 2 boys growing up. It's about a boy called Aristotle and a boy called Dante, and it takes place over the course of like 2 summers or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's just about acceptance of like other people's, like, it's just about acceptance. Really? I can't explain it. The end of this book gave me all of the warm fuzzy feelings, and it also made me want to cry. This was an amazing book, and I didn't expect the ending. I didn't think that was what it was going to be. But this book is really short. If you haven't read it, you have to read it. It is just one of those books you have to read, you know? So that's all for my top 5 books. Now I'm just going to go through the books that I read in 2014 with this little book, because I kept, like, I wrote all of the books that I read in each month in here. So I'm going to go through them month by month. So the books I read in January are A Monster Calls, which is a reread by Patrick Ness, And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, the 4th book in the Harry Potter series, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. If You Find Me by Emily Murdoch, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Death Note Volume 1 and 2, which I gave both 5 out of 5 stars. Emerald Green, the 3rd book in the Ruby Red trilogy by Kirsten Gier, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. And The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Byron Selznick, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. In February, I read Looking for Alaska by John Green, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and Shatter Me by Tahira Murphy, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. In March, I read Angel Fall by Susan E., which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. In April, I read The Diviners by Libba Bray, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Animal Farm by George Orwell, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Othello by Shakespeare, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. In May, I read Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I Wrote This For You by Please Find This, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. And Destroy Me by Tahira Murphy, which is the 1.5 book in the Shatter Me series, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. In June, I read Unravel Me by Tahira Murphy, the 2nd book in the Shatter Me trilogy, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Fracture Me, the 2.5 in the Shatter Me trilogy, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. And Ignite Me, the 3rd and final book, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. In July, I read The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. In August, I read The Crane Wife by Patrick Ness, which I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. In September, I read Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley, which I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. And Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alaric Sines, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. In October, I read I Wrote This For You, Just the Words by Please Find This, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars. And The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, which I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. In November, I read The Tempest by Shakespeare, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and Lord of the Flies by William Golding, which I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. And in December, I read volumes 3 and 4 in the Death Note manga series by Tasumi Oba. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below with your favorite books of 2014. If you made a video of your favorite books, leave a link to that video and I will try to watch some of them. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!